Ebusia for Yamabunya Aquabakashe Eba Time with Startup Send right here on HRE TV. Every Monday at 6 p.m. We are at your doorsteps to make sure say we bring you nothing but the best of information, education, and also some sort of entertainment as well. Intino and I say, baby, I will be a honcha kese pa near the mount. Mr. Fronia now, you so friendly, na indeed media man. We are live on HRE TV, live on HRE TV, YouTube, and Facebook, and also live on Taps and Ghana Facebook page. So please take this time to share the link to your friends and loved ones, both the Facebook and the YouTube link, as well as the Zoom link too. So mobile share link to the the yembranding nambisian there. When send the topic near topic obi biara expect so better near kosono. And big shout outs to our chat room family, which is the His Royal Empire chat room. No, you guys are awesome. You suggested this topic for today, and we are bringing it to your doorsteps. Into send done that yeah no yeben. Yela mase answer the message me dey na se no yebe pese yebe da abo fa so yasene ase na afedie me do mase da kese aida mo pegi fa so koto sabo bi esi apampa so a na nya ne pene mo bi ne kukundi ne si o. The sense yebe da feel good services ase. So wo pe mental health speaker na say educator na we be boa ewo organization be a part of, and I say even for your personal need company, look no further than feelgoodservices@gmail.com. Contact them over there and just make sure say the right thing will be done. Okwa catch and say PK in a smile into no making sure say me the best of services on. So as soon as feel good services, seven countries up a bia beda na ohumbejo na unya issue bia ewa Ghana or more nice Airbnb ewa East Legon Hills. So as soon as opa asase so ato obetimi enya legitimate lands ewo honom excuse me how anase asembia anase amanibia eni ho opa so msa so si odan ma so ometimi aya ama free 513-372-5758 and I said +233-208-149-504. Now so betima contact me email address and so feelgoodservices@gmail.com. Ebusia for Oswald Wellness LLC. So ope family nurse practitioner and I say primary care manager. Ubetimi good IV hydration and I say weight management. Ubetimi enomo edi hunkita wa. Share Oswald Wellness LLC ACQUAYE. But the catch they said they are only registered in Maryland and Ohio. But offer number here, let me know I go over what you need and how to go about it. Number here 513-268-2740. Sabre, Mr. Aswaka will say if at this point only any plan biama oma education fund and it's a college fund, and I also say only any life insurance policy biama wang saw any wubusia and a uya catchde. I did back course what I say, Cromanus in a one no. Say opa wumpe no or Mabeco school and a school course also no. Excuse me. And that form. So na bibi ebetua, the end yawu yam kwan there will be time for us to path this earth. Na anasi yebushi we be part of this earth. Say about na say unsesi wechi akwanya na fe the good farming no akodoso. The santi yenya ba Millicent or also say she the cha akwanya na video oni udi nkomo how to fight financial ignorance in America. Or your licensed financial professional. The numbers name you know. So me body na actual na fe the wa from na video. Never be an nobody at us. Number 937-321-2270. And I said 937-270-9882. Offer a catch this PK and a small one. With discounting. Discounting who hear me crap say friend our friend. Ebusia for Taps and Daroma. And you did you media air bro. I'm money a proud and your lead sponsors for media to say time with Taps said. App no you're very fast, easy, secure, and very convenient. If you also don't know, so we'll send sika akufia a zero transfer and a very safe and very durable. Rating is also to Nyamiadom a diakotine pound. Download the app no Google Play Store or App Store no. Now for promo code PK a shame. Promo code near PK P-KAY. All the shema na sɛ wosɛne Oscar on your first transaction wobɛnya $15. saa $15 no sɛ wobɔ mmɔden na sɛ wotwa screenshot na wosɛne ma me a me so mede ɛmo bɔtɔ baako ɛbɛpɛ so ama wo na afei deɛ ɛda wo anaasɛ wɔbusuafoɔ ɛtumi ɛde twɛ wo nom ɛtumi srɛ bɔ mmɔden a na use app no so afei ɛna waba wɔyi so deda na wasɛne ama wɔbusuani bi a ɛwɔ hɔ bia saa bere yɛbɛkɔ for a quick commercial break yɛba na afei deɛ yɛbɛtie updates from startup sɛ n'akakyɛ na afei deɛ de dwumadi no ahyehyɛ so kaba bisra fa saa kwan yi so na alɛte wɔ busuafoɔ na ɔmo nyinaa bɛnyɛ de dwumadi ma ne nyɛ kama yɛda basa
yankutuna nasio nyameno no yanana sia wa maya tamfo ate shoko hey dia wa ne dia no waya mana ya menwanwa hey waya mana timwa atamfo ate shoko Ghana for me the unbreakable joy is blessing oh share HRETV kosuana she na be yinshira unbreakable keep it locked.
Check the statistics. What from beaucoup d'État on big six. We remove all the girls logistics. You want here top speed Olympics. Yo, what up, people? It's your boy Natalie, and I'm watching HRETV, man. Keep it locked. Badman operator.
Hello, guys. It's your girl Pamela Odame Watara, and I just want to recommend HRETV for you guys for all your latest interviews. Just stay tuned at HRETV. I love you guys. Mwah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching me live on HRE TV. HR, His Royal Majesty. Oh my goodness, I love the name of this TV. HRE TV. Oh my goodness. Just catch us live on YouTube. Just go there, HRE TV, and click subscribe, and then get updates on everything that they put there, and then watch them also live on Facebook. When you hear the name HRTV, you are talking about television that comes from the heart. Oh, HRTV. Oh, makuma tomi emwati. Me that one say. Good morning, children. A B C D E F G H R E H R E HRE TV. Go and watch HRE TV. Bye bye.
I was at one, your friend Calibos, the only boss with what this. Do you know about Tap Send? Unima Metro. Tap Send is one of the easiest, convenient, reliable money transfer app you can get. You can download Tap Send on Google Play Store or App Store. We download it and then you register. Register and you are good to go to send money across every place, many countries in the world. Tap Send. Why wouldn't that? I was up.
All right, thank you so much for the quick commercial break. I hope so that this time that everybody is getting themselves ready for the show. But before we proceed, let's please call upon Daniel Yeboah, Director for Startup Send USA Canada, to give us any updates from Startup Send's end. Director, I'm going to say. So what's going on with Startup Send and any updates, any good news?
Yeah, Aquaba, for such a wonderful day. PK said you know Startup Send. We are always trying to give everybody the best, right? So yeah, try our rates are popping up. The best that will entice will be as on you Startup Send. We keep on giving you good rates. At the moment, I think wallet and the within the shortest time it will be in America, because you're launching W2W, right? W2W, wallet to wallet. That's like the P2P, where obi usika wallet so obi tuma send ya money wallet so. So I want to be here say I say you launch US wallet and if I said there will be a bit me I use for now. And it's a good thing. And see more watch it out very soon it will come. Another thing is so we are still urging people to do is you have the chance to donate to all projects. I mean, good projects going on in Ghana. Yeah, try see a DB Breweki can said the way a bit me. In fact, one CD can change a lot of lives in Ghana. So we are urging say mama you promote to yemwa. Would you pay a kakra bia €1, $1, $1 Canadian, and I'll be to me at the fatum. Be save a lot of lives. We also have bill pay. Right now, with matter credit, data, or family back home. Enche yeah the DSTV, any TV license, other things, and so ebe gusu CCA. So from our end, yeah, catching because that is what we have in store for everybody. And I hope say yeah, try your best to be app no be um, album calendar abo BFE to be our cost to abinya BBI also. That is the PK the no so no.
So what is the difference between? I thought so the wallet system in Europe no has been cancelled.
Okay, so now let me explain the wallet. So wallet, and you have two wallets. You have the CD wallet and then the foreign currency wallet. So if you are in UK, you have a wallet where you can deposit like pound or Europe or euros. And then in the States, it will be Canadian dollar and then US dollars. That's a foreign account. But we had an issue with Bank of Ghana saying say um your CD wallet and they weren't agreeing on that. Until and no na issue with them. You go so we are communicating. Someone who say if foreign currency wallet is working there, then the city should also work. But now it looks as if we didn't brief them. They didn't get the brief well. So you go so I communicate. Said about big jai you CD no, you CD wallet na man aye juma. But and only any juma ni the foreign currency wallet and is still in operation. And no. On say you money any Bank of Ghana the control. So your license for any so. Inti for now the other wallet is functioning.
Okay. So what is the guarantee? Say we're not gonna have the same issue that happened with the CD account.
Okay, so that's what I was saying. Say yenya issue with them because they think maybe we didn't brief them well. So that is what we are negotiating for now. So when they accept it, I mean, Oma my client, you bit me, I use the city wallet. But other wallet in there, it is working because we have the permit, we have everything, and countries in our accept it. With the CD, it's just the Bank of Ghana, and I will see a new almost call back to the table and then re-agree on everything. In fact, very soon, I think on baby mama, yeah, in the end, any problem, we're not gonna have the issue.
Okay, thank you very much, Director. We hope to see and hear good stuff come through Tatapsen, and also for us to be able to be more, excited to keep using the app. Yeah, that's it. All right, Ibusha, for this is the update from Tatapsen, from Director Daniel Yabwa. At this point, we're gonna proceed with the show, and I want to say I've seen your comments about the English medium to use for the program. Now, like I said last week, and always, this show is predominantly, transmitted in Tree. But when we have guests on the platform that request the show be run in English, we always switch it over to English. Also, most of our guests feel comfortable presented in English. Therefore, even when the show is being run in Tree, when it gets to the main presentation, it always switches itself back to English. Or sometimes we get Tringlish, whereby we do both the Tree and the English. So please bear with us. But then today's show is going to be switched over to the English aspect since we have people requesting for it. Because we are doing this for you, our viewers. And without you guys, I mean, basically the show would be nothing. So we would definitely honor your request and proceed with that. With that being said, I'll call upon our guest for tonight, KOJO ACQUAYE, such a great guy, very vested in the cybersecurity industry, and also knows the encumbrances when it comes to getting your foot into the door, looking for jobs, remote jobs, and also more or less in the IT field. So we will officially welcome KOJO. KOJO, welcome to the show, Time with Tatapsen. I know today is not your first time, so you're already a full member of the this platform. How are you doing tonight?
PK, thank you very much for having me. I'm doing very well, and thank you to my audience for showing up today. How are you
Yes,
doing
sir.
yourself?
All right, all right. Kojo is also an astute Santa Clausian, so please accord him with such accolades. Kojo, is Tony ready also for me to introduce him?
Yes, Tony is online and he's ready to be introduced.
All
So,
right,
Tony,
Tony Frimpong is also a co member or fellow of Kojo who is going to be helping us run the show today. Tony, how are you doing tonight? Tony, can you hear me?
Hello.
Yes, Tony, how are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. Yourself?
Not too bad. Can you turn your camera on for us, please?
I'm working on that.
Oh, okay.
There
Yes,
you
there
are.
you go.
Okay.
All right. Our viewers would like to know who we're talking to. All right. So again, guys, we are live on Facebook, HITV, Startups in Ghana, YouTube, HITV. So please be mindful of some of the questions that you have. If you think your question is going to be a little bit more detailed, just contact our guys. They're gonna drop their contact information out here. So just contact them, and they will make sure they talk to you offline to help you as much as possible. But today we're gonna deal with all those rumors circulating, and also how best we can get those remote jobs. So starting from any one of you can just start with the presentation. I'm pretty sure Kojo going to start. So please walk us through the steps of how we can actually, basically find remote jobs, and also the tips and the resources and opportunities that it comes with. So please, our viewers are ready and to listen to you guys. And also, as time goes on, when they keep bringing the questions, I'll keep asking those questions as well for them. Over to you, Kojo and Tony.
absolutely. PK, I just want to know by chance if I have the authority to share my screen so I can share with the audience.
Proceed, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And again, thank you, Tatasen, for allowing ACQUAYE Consultancy and Tony Frimpong to go over how to find remote jobs, the tips and resources and opportunities to aid people to be successful in this field. Now, as we delve into this session, is my screen showing by chance?
Yes, it is.
Okay, let me make sure I'm sharing the right screen. All right. So in sharing the right screen, yes. So what we're going to go over is remote jobs, tips, resources, and opportunities. Now, it's come to our attention that a lot of people are looking for remote jobs and are not able to find them, or they have difficulties in finding them.
Kojo,
Yes,
before you start with a slide, do you think we should address the video going on viral from the president now, or you want to
yes,
do
we
that
are.
after?
Yes, we're going to address it as we're moving forward. Let us
Okay,
address that. We'll address the
okay,
elephant in the room right now.
okay,
Not only from the president, right?
hmm,
From a lot of Fortune 500 company CEOs who
okay.
have brought this out there. So, in as much as a lot of folks are looking for remote jobs, I want to urge you to know that in as much as remote job has come to stay, remote job will slightly dissipate too in one way or the other, whereby we will be moving to more of a hybrid situation where 3 times a day and working at home 2 times a day. So do not be too convinced and comfortable about going or having a fully remote job, but there are possibilities where you can land your remote job. Now, we all know that the president of today, that's Donald Trump, has passed an executive order whereby he's made it known to all federal, and I repeat again, federal jobs to make sure they are all going back to the office. So now federal institutions are making their federal employees and contractors come back to the office. That doesn't mean that everybody in the federal field is expected to go back to the office. So it's a work in progress. Now, in the commercial sector, there are some huge companies like JP Morgan, Amazon, Tesla. or SpaceX and other huge companies who are telling their employees to come back to work full time. So if you're looking for a remote job, it's not a bad thing, but I want to let you know that it will not be there forever. So I'll let Tony chime in and also put his 2 cents in regards to uh, where remote job is dissipating currently and the landscape we are moving to. So Tony, you can go ahead and share your thoughts.
Okay, thank you very much. Everyone can hear me, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Jojo. So, as he stated, everything is shifting from 2025, towards, for years to come, things will change. There's really a possibility that some people might go in fully, others, hopefully, 2 times a week. There are jobs that are online right now that are switching. Maybe last week you see it posted online saying remote. This week you go and it's either on hold or it's now hybrid. I've seen contracts that switch hands. Maybe the contract ended and somebody else won it. A contract that I know that maybe I know people working on that, it was completely remote. The contract ended that year, and then whoever won it now switched to hybrid. So things are really changing. On the federal side, we are seeing this a lot. Even contracts are being shortened; they are getting cancelled, as we've seen that Mr. Musk and his team are, trying to shrink government labor force, and which is also affecting some departments on the contractual side. Um, since some of these departments are shrinking, it's either causing some of the jobs to go or contracts to end even earlier than they were meant to. And this is also affecting a lot of these remote jobs that we used to see online. On the commercial side, I would say they're a little more on the luckier side of things because this doesn't really affect them. So it depends on what direction you want to go. There are still a lot of remote jobs on the commercial side compared to federal contracting. So, like I said, it depends on what direction you want to go and the type of work you're also looking for. But either way, even if you're looking for a remote job, there's a possibility that you can find it. It's just not as high as it used to be. But to me, I would say that in as much as you're looking for something that is remote, if you find something that is hybrid and is even a day on site, I think you can, to me, I would say try and get something that is a little bit hybrid. And whilst you're looking for your fully remote job, you can at least, have something coming into your home or into your pocket. But that's my 2 cents.
All right. Thank
Joe,
you
back
very
to you.
much, Tony. Thank you very much, Tony. Oh, with that being said, if there are any questions, I'll let PK read it for us. If not, we can go ahead and continue with our slides.
Oh yeah, you can proceed. Once we get a little bit more questions, then we just go ahead and just load
Absolutely.
them together.
Thank you very much. So, as we're saying, we're trying to understand the remote work landscape, right? So, in today's dispensation, a lot of people think that remote jobs are automatic. When you find the remote job online and you click and you apply, the tendency of you getting it is automatic. But then I'm here to tell you that that's not the case. That is not the case at all. And as Tony stated, the jobs are not remote only but hybrid. Sometimes you will look at the job description, it will say remote, but when you actually go to the website of the company, it will now say something else. It will tell you a hybrid situation or 2 days in the office, the remaining 3 days at home. So it's on you, the individual applying for the job, to see how best it suits your day to day and your family as a whole. Now, like we are saying, these remote jobs are increasingly growing. Now, remote job has come to stay. That's one thing I want everybody to understand. It has become the new norm. But the government of the day can switch it and change things within the climate as we see it. So it all depends on you. And there are so many jobs on the market that push for remote jobs that are hiring remotely. So one, you want to look at the growing trend that is going on within the work market as of today. Secondly, you want to look at the benefits of remote jobs. And we all know what the benefits of remote job is. I don't need to explain thoroughly about it. But one, the flexibility it gives to us. to the better work-life balance. And just imagine like this gentleman over here, he has a newborn over here, but now he has to take his kid to daycare, figure out how he'll pick up his kid from school, but he's able to work from the comfort of his home and at the same time be efficient. Now, statistics has proven that folks that work from home end up bringing out more productivity as compared to those that go into the office. Now, I'm not trying to say that when you go to the office, your productivity is not high, but think about it. When I wake up 6:30 in the morning, I have to drive to work wherever I might find myself, be it DC, Virginia, which is an hour drive. Now I get to work, I clock in, I see people at work. I want to say hi to 5 or 7 people. By the time I'm saying hi and talking to people, it's 10 o'clock. I do about 1 hour of work, it's 12 o'clock. I go for lunch. Then I come back from lunch at 1 o'clock. I get back into the work environment, get in a couple of meetings. By 4 o'clock, I'm trying to close out shop and head on back home. Whereby by 5:30, I should be in my vehicle driving back home. But in today's remote environment, at 8 o'clock, most of the times I have meetings starting already. And by 5 o'clock, work should be ending because I want to push my deliverables to a certain extent, I end up overdoing work. So when I log on work the next morning, I've done a substantial amount of work to find myself more efficient at the workplace. So these are the kind of the benefits I see from remote work because I know and I experience it on a day-to-day basis. Now, we say the challenges that people face in remote work. One, again, it requires self-discipline. Now, if you know you have to be at a meeting at a certain time and you're not showing up, these are the kind of things that gets you queried at work, or you end up hearing low performance, or your boss is always looking out to find where are you. They'll be like, hey, Tony, where are you? Hey, Kojo, where are you? So these are the kind of things that you need to look into. So with that being said, the challenges are not that many, but it depends on you, the individual, to make sure that this remote job setting will fit your day-to-day needs. Now, I'm speaking from an IT perspective, mostly cybersecurity, because some of these jobs that we find ourselves in do not require us to have human interaction on a day-to-day basis, or our services provided, if done remotely, is fully efficient as compared to other folks in the medical field. You can be a remote worker as a nurse. You can be a remote worker as a cardiologist. You have to see these patients. Now, some remote workers, even in the medical field, like a psychologist, yes, you can have the video medium of talking to your clients to make the job very, very efficient for you. So one thing I want you to look into, the career field that you find yourself in, is it remote worthy? Will I get me a job that is, oh, that breeds remote? These are the things that we want to look into. Now, secondly, we'll talk about identify your ideal remote job. That's the one thing you want to do. You want to be able to say you can identify your ideal remote job. A lot of people just wake up and say, I want to find a remote job, but they do not do their homework. The homework is not done extensively. So you want to determine the skills that attract the job you're looking for. If you know you don't have that skill set, you have to go and train and find that skill set to match that remote job. Now, if I found myself in an environment when it says a network engineer and it's fully remote, and I don't have that network engineering background, why do I go applying for that job? I will definitely will not get it. So before I meet that network engineering job, I want to make sure my skill sets matches and I have a network team around me, people that I can network with to make sure that in the event they hear of such jobs, they can link me to it. So first, I want to make sure that my skill sets match. It's an interest of mine. Secondly, the career goals within that particular field of job will propel my career to the next level. It's a place where there's no stagnation, but you can see growth. That's one thing. A lot of people hear about remote jobs and 6 figures, but I can guarantee you there's some remote jobs that you'll be stuck in one particular place and you think you're seeing 6 figures, but as others are progressing in their career, you're still stuck. So you want to make sure that this is a career field that you can grow and evolve in. Now, second, we say research. One thing I want to urge everyone is, do you want to research about the job and the industry? If it's hospitality you're trying to go into, are there remote jobs over there? If it's the finance industry or insurance industry, you are going to other remote jobs for me. If it's the medical or pharmaceutical industry you're trying to go to, other remote jobs for me. So you have to be able to research, right? If you do your own research, it gives you a plethora of things that you can look into. Now, there are specific companies, so you have to look at certain target companies. I always say a lot of headhunters will come and call you and tell you that they saw your resume online, send your most current resume, and when you send it, you don't hear back from them. One thing I urge you to just look for the company that you want to go to. Is it Google? Look for careers on Google. If it's or Meta, Facebook, look for careers on Facebook. If it's Netflix, look for them. If it's Deloitte, look for it. If it's EY, look for it because you know exactly what you're looking for and what matches your skill set. A lot of people I know today will send me their resumes. Can you tweak your resume for me for a job? Now, after the resume being tweaked, and they get an interview because they don't know their resume well, they're not able to articulate themselves when they get into an interview. So these are the kind of things that deters you from even landing you a job, period, not even a remote job. We can tweak the resume for you to get a first look or first call by hiring manager or recruiter. But then if you do not know the subject matter, it becomes a problem for you. And below are some of the job boards I've listed out. And these job boards or links spews mostly remote jobs. If you're looking for a remote job, all these websites are listed over here. You can go over there and find your remote jobs. So for you that want to take screenshots of this actual slide over there, please go ahead and do so. You find your remote jobs over here and
Kojo,
make sure that, yes, sir.
when you get a chance, can you also send me the slides so that I can put it on the chat room for
Absolutely.
some of our
Absolutely.
viewers who are a part of the chat room? We're also going to put a link to the chat room so that people can join as well. And
Absolutely.
I'll just drop the slide over there for them to also get access to it.
We will
Proceed.
certainly do so. So
Thank you.
these links are places that you can apply for remote jobs, both on a commercial level and a federal level. I'll now pass it over to Tony and let Tony also chime in about how to identify your ideal remote job, how to go about it from a federal perspective, as being a contractor and also as a federal employee. So, Tony, over to you.
Thank you very much, Jojo. So, can you please go to the previous slide before this one? I had one or two things to say. Okay, so I'll start here. Understanding the remote work landscape. As Jojo had stated, being outside the office brings a level of productivity that a lot of employers have, come to understand. That gives them, gets them to achieve more. So, for example, him saying that you are able to work off hours, you're able to bring your laptop home to do extra work, maybe on the weekends or nights at dawn to catch up. All these things help push productivity. On the other hand, there are also some employers who, due to the structure we have in America, which is more of like being honest on your time sheet, so they don't want you to be pushed for employees to stick to working within the 8 hours. So there are some employers who are happy that you put in the extra work. It makes you an outstanding employee. But on the other hand, there are other employers that also frown on that because I've worked in environments where people have been reported for logging in during odd hours and then maybe uh, the security operations center finds out that people are logging in at maybe 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and then they might assume that maybe somebody is trying to hack into the system from I don't know where, maybe China, Russia, whatsoever, and then they might start, looking at you weirdly that why are you not doing your work within the regular 9 to 5, and then you have to wake up at maybe 4 or 5 a.m. to start working, stuff like that. So um, it depends on where you work. So I'll say be cautious if you find yourself in a remote job. Be cautious how you, you do some of these things, you have to kind of weigh your employer to see where they stand with some of these personal practices that people may have. So it's kind of is a benefit to some people, others it's also a challenge. But I just wanted everyone to know this. Joey, let's go to the next screen. Okay, so identifying your ideal remote job. For that, I would say identifying a job that suits you, your characteristics, your expertise. That one I would say comes from you. There's always the possibility to, you know, try to learn something different, step out of your comfort zone, um, do things that maybe you haven't done before. I would say there are lots of people who end up in IT jobs and didn't do IT in Ghana or even didn't do IT here in college or maybe masters or whatsoever, but there are lots of boot camps. There's a Udemy, there's a Coursera's, the community colleges that are offering, um, or even some of the universities are offering 6 month IT courses. That can, get you up to speed and put you um, in the job market. Mm. So it's up to you to really do some research and see where you feel you fit the best. Some people go for IT compliance. Some people go for more technical stuff, like maybe software development, maybe programming, maybe security operations and vulnerability management. There are tons of IT, or even help desk IT specialists. There are tons of um, different kinds of IT roles out there that are all remote. But also, there are jobs that are also remote, are not necessarily IT. There are people who even do call center, people do recruiting, etc. So even if um, you feel like maybe you're not tech savvy, you think maybe you can't get into the IT field, there are jobs like recruiting. All these recruiters that call us to be able to, set us up for these interviews for these jobs, they work remotely. Some of them they're also call centers. There are even people who even do booking. I'm pretty sure that you've seen some of these people, ASAP tickets and all those people. If you want to book flights to Ghana or some African countries or Europe, they have all these jobs available as well. And some of these don't even require certificates. So it's all up to you to do some research and then, build a resume that will get you a call. That's one key thing. Build a resume that will make you seen, because sometimes you have to think about the fact that there are probably 300 people applying for the same job, and especially remote jobs have a lot of applicants. So you need to find a way to stand out. That I'm pretty sure we'll talk a lot more about that in the subsequent slides. But these are a few of the websites that you can leverage also. Joe, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So, like Tony was saying, everybody has a transferable skill in regards to where they're coming from before trying to pivot into IT. So, if you found yourself as a project manager in your past job that had no relation to IT, remember that even in IT, there's project management over there. And like Tony was saying earlier, there are many, many roles that don't require you to be in the IT field that you can have as a remote job. Remember, just think about it. Anytime maybe you're flying to Ghana and or wherever in the world you're flying to and you have an issue with your flight, right? You end up calling the customer service. These jobs are remotely done. In the event you have an issue maybe at your home with your ADT, your alarm systems, those numbers that you call for people to revert back to you, these jobs are done remotely. Now, one thing you want to know is if that job aligns with what you are doing currently and you can execute, you can go ahead and do it. So I always tell and urge my folks is that there is some form of transferable skill that you have from your current career as you pivot into a role that is remotely done, maybe in the IT field, maybe in a non-IT field. So make sure that your transferable skill aligns or you are learning to meet that skill. And Tony stated there are so many boot camps that you see around, very big in the African community. the African American community, whereby a lot of people are having these 3 months IT courses, 6 month IT courses to teach you RMF, they teach you third party risk management. It's on you, the individual, to leverage those courses and boot camps that are given to you efficiently. So upon completion of these boot camps and classes, there's something you can take home and use to apply for these remote jobs because nobody wants to pay money and at the end of the day, are not able to land you a job. The reason why I see most people don't land jobs after finishing these classes, they don't pay attention or they don't ask questions in class or are not asking the difficult questions to their tutors. They come and sit in the class thinking that you've paid. So after they're done with the class, they will not even ask questions. They know there's a recording. They go and listen to the recording. And after the recording, they realize that I did not really understand what was said. I could have asked this question in the class. So I urge you, whenever you enroll within these boot camps, do well to ask the questions, the hard questions. There's nothing like a dumb question. So far as you're paying for it, make sure you ask the questions. So at the end of the day, you can become successful. And when you are done with these classes, the studying doesn't end there. For me, I see myself as a forever student. Every day I'm learning something new. Even in my field of IT, as long as I've been in it, I'm learning something new each and every day. About 2 years ago or 3 years ago, AI and machine learning was very new to me. But then upon my research, and I noticed that the current landscape we find ourselves in, AI will become a thing that if you do not learn or leverage, you might end up fall short in your career path. So I started learning about AI to boost my knowledge. And today I found myself using that knowledge from AI to propel my career to the next level. So it falls on you. You don't want to be stagnant. You don't want to be redundant. Remember, IT is not static, it's dynamic, it changes every time. The same way as saying just because you've seen a remote today doesn't mean it will be remote forever. It's dynamic. So these are the kind of things we want to let our audience and students know whenever they're pursuing these kind of jobs and career path. Let me move on to the next slide. So we're trying to say optimize your online presence, right? So with that being said, one thing you want to do is you want to create a strong online presence that showcases your skills and experience. So for those of you that have a LinkedIn, an Indeed account, a Dice account, you want to make sure that your resume that you're putting out there is a solid resume, not a resume you've copied from a buddy or someone has created for you. A lot of resumes that I've seen across my table, Tony can attest to it. We've seen it like, wait, this resume looks like someone's resume I've worked on. Or we've seen it in an interview somewhere. You know, you want your resume to stand out. Like Tony was saying, you are competing with those that had been laid off from Microsoft last year, Meta this year, Amazon last year. And these people have been doing it very, very well. Now, I'll be blatantly honest over here. Most of us, where we're coming from, we end up lying on our resume, say we have 7 years experience, but we just came from a warehouse job or we just came from a home care job. So in articulating your resume for the masses to know that you know the job, make sure that it's a strong resume. The online presence showcases your skills and experience. So when you end up getting called by a hiring manager or a recruiter, the confidence in your voice alone will propel you to the next phase in an interview. But then when you're in an interview session and the recruiter is talking to you and all we can hear is then you just shoot yourself in the foot because the recruiter is not even confident in pushing you to the next level because one, you don't know your subject matter very well. Two, you don't even know your resume because first of all, it wasn't created by you. Someone created it for you, and you did not even go about the bullet points in your resume so that you can understand what the bullet points means. There are so many people that have been to my class and I've asked them to tell me about yourself based on your resume and they go off on a different tangent. And I asked them, this is what your resume said. Tell me about it. Then you realize that they're not able to articulate yourself. Now, I asked them, who created your resume for you? They was like, oh, a buddy of mine. He said he can work on resume. And a lot of folks end up putting places they've not worked at. If you know you haven't worked at Deloitte, don't go put Deloitte over there because when they do a background check, they can. And Deloitte is a big company. Deloitte is in Africa. Deloitte is in Europe. Deloitte is in Asia. at the end of the day, they come to a centralized point of view. So there's some places a lot of people lie over there. Try as much as possible not to put those lies on your resume. Because if HR comes to push shove and they have to do a background check and they can't find you in Deloitte, then that becomes a red flag. Now, a lot of people might have gotten past that, but you might not be the lucky one. So be very careful on how you articulate certain places that you've worked at. Now, LinkedIn, optimizing LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one great place to use for professional platform to show what you have done and what you're currently doing. Now, not so many people I know use LinkedIn, but those I know use LinkedIn, use them efficiently to the best of their advantage. So it behooves you to use what platform we think will be efficient for you. I have used LinkedIn. Most of my jobs have come from LinkedIn. And because I have a lot of presence over there, I've been able to get a lot of traction from LinkedIn. And also like develop a portfolio. So let's say you have a website that you provide some services. This is what will end up aiding people to go look at your website. Maybe you have a consultant, and like that consultant has to do, maybe you have a home care business that you want to pursue extensively, but then as the CEO, you want to do everything remotely and hire people. You have to develop a website that will lure people to your company. You have to develop a website or a portfolio that shows credibility. So first comes with your LinkedIn, or another with your professional branding. How strong of a presence do you have with your skills and experience? Because the first person you have to conquer is a recruiter. Convince the recruiter you're the best candidate ever. Then the hiring manager will know whether you fit the job or the business culture. Then you might get you a panel interview where you might have three or two people in the interview interviewing to know that if you can do the job or you're someone they can work with. Now, lastly, we talked about networking. Tony has a phrase: if you go look for a job in the market field where you know you don't have any friends in, and you find yourself wanting, who are you going to reach out to? So you want to make sure that you network with folks that in the event you find you or have a problem in that work environment, you can call on someone. So network with the right people or find jobs in a field whereby you can find somebody you know. So in networking, do not be dormant on your LinkedIn. You have to be proactive. And finding a job is a job on its own. I guarantee you. You can end up looking for or applying for jobs, 15 jobs a day. And I can guarantee you at the end of the week, those 15 jobs you have applied for that whole week, you might end up hearing for only four. And out of those four, only two will tell you that they'll schedule for an interview. And out of that interview, one might go through and you might not end up getting a job. That shouldn't be a deterrent. That should be a confident booster for you. At least just doing something right for someone to even give you a call. With that being said, let me pass it over to Tony, and Tony will chime in from here. Tony, over to you.
Thank you very much, Jojo. So in optimizing your online presence, okay. So networking, he already spoke about. It's good to find yourself in a role, or it's good to. I always say it's good to pursue a job that you have connections in. If I have about 10 friends who are in cybersecurity, I know that if I'm building my resume, I'll have people to talk to. If I get my job, I'll have people to talk to reference or to guide me. If I call Kojo and he's busy, I can call PK, or I can call one more person or other people. But if I only know one person and I call and the person is busy, until the person returns my call, I'm where I'm at. And what if I lose my job before he even calls me back? Or maybe I hear that, oh, this job pays like 180, but my friend is doing a job that pays like maybe 120. No, I feel like that 180, maybe it's better money, or it's some serious, amount of money that I want to be ahead of the next person. So I decided, okay, let me go this route. And then you go and take on a whole different aspect of IT that you don't even know anyone else who does that. You go, you finish your boot camp. Now you don't have help putting together a resume. You don't have help looking for work. You don't even know what to say to recruiters or how to go about your interview. And even if by some miraculous means you find a job, you don't have anyone to ask how to even start some of these tasks, and you end up, losing the job or not even being able to get your foot in the door. So these are some of the things you need to consider as you try to make your path towards this. If you are going towards the IT or cybersecurity or even whatever um, angle you want to come from, but to enter into the remote field, you need to find yourself something that you have friends that even if you get your first job, you can hopefully even go to them and work in their presence for a few weeks. Maybe when you get your feet wet, then you can start working by yourself or something. As far as LinkedIn and all those other websites that you can subscribe to, um, it's good to have a presence. I know that lots of people are, not too sure of putting things on LinkedIn because they know that maybe it's their first time trying to get, especially into the IT, field, and because they are not originally from there, from an IT background, they don't know how to go and create a profile on LinkedIn and then not have any IT background to back them because most of these recruiters are not really sharp. As soon as they see your name, they go and try and verify you on LinkedIn. So some people just do not want a presence there. But there are lots of jobs on LinkedIn. I believe if you're able to just go onto LinkedIn and look for some jobs, you might be able to click the link and go and apply personally if you want to. Likewise, there are so many other places that I can subscribe to. Monster, Indeed, Dice, so many other places, and you get pop-ups of jobs on the daily, and even Google, where we always go and search for things. If you type a job in Google, the one of the tabs there that I can actually click and follow, and you will get notifications. I don't know if you do it on your phone or maybe on your laptop, but even if you do it on your phone, you get notifications on your phone from Google. Google itself will send you jobs, and if you go through Google, trust me, Google will find jobs everywhere for you. Trust me, Google will find jobs because like almost everything kind of syncs through Google somehow, and then all the information that you're looking for is always on Google. So yeah, there are so many ways that you can you know, find some of these jobs. So that's it from me as far as that. Oh, and also when it comes to resumes, Jojo has stated that sometimes we create some resumes that we're not able to back up. And then I've been in interviews where I'll ask someone a question, the person will make a face, and I'll tell them that yes, it's in your resume, and the person doesn't even know that it's in their resume. Then I end up telling them that look at this line, look at what you wrote, before they even realize that it's there. These are some common mistakes that people make. People try to always update their resume to suit the job they are applying for so that they'll get calls. It works out, you get the call, but because you are always updating your resume to suit every job you apply for, by the time you get a call from a recruiter, you don't know which job the recruiter is calling for. Then you don't even remember exactly what is on that resume. Now you start asking, okay, which job? I want to go on probably your phone or your laptop to quickly find which resume that was. And then sometimes, if you're applying to, let's just say, he said 15 jobs a day. Let's say you're applying to 15 jobs a day. Are you going to modify your resume 15 times a day? By the time you hit the end of the week, five times 15, that's about what's almost 75 resumes that you have slightly different from each other. You will not be able to keep up. Sometimes I say just build one good resume and try to apply. If they call you, they call. If they don't, well, keep trying. But that's me. But I'll be able to, you know, get you to have one resume, create your stories or whatever you have, or your stories to back that resume. And anybody who calls you, you have you know what you're saying, and you won't be found wanting. You know, sometimes so that people help you to build resumes. People just take the resumes, update the information in the resume, like they change the companies, whatnot, and then they just put it online and they start looking for jobs. But what you don't realize is the author of the resume will still be the person who made that resume. Even if I download the resume, I can go to the properties and find out that the person who made the resume is not the person whose name is on the resume. It might not matter to some people, but I've been into an interview where somebody somebody referred someone else for a job, and during the interview, the questions that were coming his way, he was fumbling and he wasn't able to answer it. So it made it clear that somebody who can answer these basic questions probably doesn't own this resume or didn't create the resume. So somebody else on the panel went back into their past resumes, and the person who actually referred this person to the job, they realized that they had the same resume, and this resume that the person pulled out was from a year prior to that when the first person was hired, and then this person also referred someone the following year. So they realized that the resume was almost word for word. The biggest differences on the resume was just the names and the school certificates and then the the companies and the job titles, but most of the words were the same. They checked the properties of the resume, and they found out that it was a lady who did the resume, and the same lady who did the resume was the same lady who referred the guy to the job. So these are some of the common mistakes that we make. So I would say even if someone helps you to create a resume and sends it to you, at least do yourself a favor of copying everything on the resume onto a new blank Word document so that at least you own that document. Thank you. Joe? Right.
Yes. So thank you very much, Tony. Like Tony said, that's very true. I've seen that a lot. And when you ask them questions, a lot of people tend to fluster. Uh, when there was one particular interview, I use myself as an example. One of the first jobs I started in IT, none of my friends were doing it. None of my friends were doing it. And Johnny can tell you, 2 a.m., I was calling him, I was asking him, how did they do this? And he's like, he doesn't know. Now, that's when Google became my best friend. And even Google could not help me because the particular role was very synonymous to that company and that company only. And the proprietary information of the company and what they had, I couldn't find on the internet. So I ended up having to go into the company portal and look for information myself. Now imagine as a new employee, I'm on that company or portal at 2 a.m. And if the SOC team is running scans at night and realize that I've logged in at 2 a.m. and my working hours according to my job description says from 8 a.m. to the morning to 5 p.m. What business do I have logging into that job portal at 2 a.m.? So this became one of the biggest issues, and I realized that I needed to know someone in that field. Now, God being so good, I was able to excel in that job, and today that's the job I have, and I've risen too many ranks in that job. So again, one thing I urge everybody to do is know somebody has some form of experience in that particular role or that can mentor you in that particular job field and can guide you, give you directions. When you're hitting roadblocks, you can hit up that person or you can hit up a few folks that can assist you in navigating that path. Don't go look for a job where after the end of the boot camp, you don't hear from your professors or whoever told you in the class, and now you're stuck. You go and tell someone, oh, I want to do data science, data analytics. But at the end of the class, when you hit up the Indian tutors, you don't hear from them again. And they give you excuses. And when you look in your friend scope, nobody's doing data analytics. That's just an example I'm giving. I'm not saying that is the case, but you want to find you people in that job field that they can reach out to in the event you find yourself wanting. You understand? So, like Tony said, if you find your remote job, 90% of the time, the first couple of days or first couple of weeks, you might not have an idea of how to go about a day to day. So you end up looking for someone that lives close, at least a 20-mile, 30-mile radius, and volunteering, ask them, hey, can I come in to your house on Mondays and Wednesdays so you can help me navigate through these processes. And if the person is willing to do so, they will help you to become an expert. Then after maybe your first 2 months, you can become very proficient in the job and you don't need to go back to the person's house anymore. These are the kind of things I know people have leveraged to come to my house to see how work is done, and I've aided them to become successful. Now, if you have the opportunity to leverage someone, like, go ahead and do so. That's one thing I want to make sure that you can optimize your online presence. Go to someone's house, look at how, and when I say someone you're comfortable with, not anybody. Just reach out to someone you're comfortable with and who is willing to help you. So that's one thing over here. Speak
All right,
on.
Kojo. How
Yes,
many
sir.
more slides do we have?
We have 3 slides,
So
basically
you
two, and we're done.
so you want to do the questions, or you
Yes.
want to finish the slides?
Let's finish the slides. We'll go through
Okay,
it very
go
quick
ahead.
then. So the next one we're talking about master the remote job search. I think we've delved into this. Make sure your resume is tailored or exactly to the job you're looking for, or tailored in such a way that you can answer to the questions when being asked. Now, look for a job that you know you have some subject matter experience or knowledge about. Just because it's a remote job doesn't mean that it's for you. If the job is for you and you read the job description and you're able and you know that this is something you can do, go ahead and apply for the job. Now, one key thing I always say is there are some key relevant words job applications are looking for, and they go to the ATS system. So a lot of people like, what's the ATS system? It's called the applicant tracking system. So there are some keywords they are looking for. One thing I've also noticed that a lot of resumes that are being spewed out are not result oriented resumes. Someone will just say, I analyze policies and procedures for a company. Anybody on this platform can analyze a policy and procedure. We want to know that in the job that you did they increase productivity, or did they reduce burden on the company as a whole? So you want to have you a result oriented resume. Another thing that you want to look at when you're applying for this job, a lot of folks have about 5 pages for their resume. I can guarantee you, most recruiters are not even they're looking at just the first page or two. They're looking at the first page or two. So you want to make sure that your resume is crisp and the key things in your resume are addressed within your first and second page. That's it. Now, the third, fourth page, I can tell you is chaff. Nobody's looking at that, honestly, unless you're applying for a federal job. Unless you're applying for a federal job. And USA jobs today have a specific format as to how you apply for your job. So for those who are looking for federal jobs, who are citizens and permanent residents and looking for federal jobs, there's a federal job resume requirement on how to apply for those jobs. I'll pass it over to Tony, and Tony will chime in. So, Tony, over to you in how to master the remote job search.
Um, I hope you can hear me. So just as he stated, yes, there are lots of keywords out there that um are very important when you're looking for a job. You have to know the role that you're going in for, um, the key tasks that they perform, so that because some of these recruiters, yes, there are some companies that I would say are a little bit smaller and might um, actually leverage recruiters who actually look at resumes. There are other companies too that are much bigger and might be using bots. Or I'm pretty sure you've heard that some of these resumes are handpicked through some AI tools or applications. So sometimes when they scan your resume, they look for some keywords. So maybe depending on the kind of role that you're looking for, not necessarily IT per se, but whatever role that you're looking for, you need to know the key tasks that they perform and the terminologies or some technical things that are required of the role, so that you can put those things in your resume, so that even if there isn't bots, it will be able to pick up your resume out of the lot, maybe 500 applicants, maybe 800 applicants, to be able to pick the ones that they see have the keywords that they're looking for. And as he Jojo also stated, sometimes people build resumes, but they seem vague. And sometimes to like you're saying, if you say maybe policies and procedures, you analyze them, then you go on to the next thing. You say you review or you maintain policies and procedures. But you should be able to say something like maybe you analyze policy and procedures, maybe on an annual basis to be able to, or something like that, so that you can give more meaning to what you are seeing. Maybe they are being analyzed for maybe updates or for maybe to improve upon. Then you put something there to make it more meaningful. These are some of the things that makes your resume stand out from other people's resumes, and sometimes also resume formats. Sometimes how people put their resumes together. You need to maybe some people just have a resume where the professional description is on top. Then maybe the jobs just follow their certifications and education on the bottom. Sometimes you need to find a way to create it so that it puts your skills, or it puts your resume in a way that makes it easier to grasp. Because as you said, these recruiters are not looking at 3, 4, 5 pages. They're looking at like the first two. So your first job should be able to have enough information that when they look at it, they're like, okay, we like this person. You understand what I'm saying? So these are some of the things that I can say will help put above the rest of the others. But thank you, Joe.
Yes, thank you very much, Tony, for the explanation. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is the virtual interview. Now, today we find ourselves having interviews virtually. Um, Likely or seldom will you end up finding yourself to go interview at a company premises. Like I said, the landscape of IT has changed. Few people might end up interviewing you. They tell you to come to the office. You find that in the federal market, but within the commercial space, I don't see that much. So one thing I want to say is, in acing the virtual interview, there are a few things that you want to do. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Research on the company you're looking at. Now, a lot of hiring managers might ask you, what do you know about the company? So you want to make sure you're researching the company uh, and find something unique about the company. After you're done with an interview, you can say, oh, you like the company because they do this, they do that, they promote maybe career growth, they help people propel in their career. Something about the company that will catch the hiring manager's attention, right? Then the technology, you want to be making sure that before you apply for these jobs, you have a reliable internet connection and you'll have yourself in a professional setting. You don't want to go into an interview looking all shabbily dressed, or there's noise in the background and all this kind of stuff. Now, in some cases, you can't control it because of your kids, but do your best to make sure that you find yourself in a professional background. You have good lighting. Sometimes when you join interviews, people will say, oh, we can't see you because they turn their cameras off. These are the professional things that you want to make sure that you show up, and show up as if you want the job. Show some form of enthusiasm. Like when we get on a job, say hello to the people, ask, hey, how your day going? So you can control the tempo of what an interview is going to look like. And there's one interview I know for sure Tony had, and they told him that he was boring. They told him he was boring, but he knew everything. So when you show up to interviews, don't be boring. Try and engage the people you're talking to, because at the end of the day, they want to know, do you fit into the business culture you're coming into? How do you fit into that business culture? So be enthused about what you're interviewing or for. Also, be excited. I don't want to use this word fake it till you make it, but be excited that you want this job that bad. At the same time, show that you are the one for the job, because you are competing with other folks that might want it more than you. So what about you stands out for that particular job that you're interviewing more for? Another thing I want to talk about, you have to practice. A lot of folks don't practice. They don't practice about tell me about yourself. And 90% of the time, I know people want to go for interviews, the classes they went to have given them a script. So when they say tell me about yourself, You sound very scripted, and there's no fluidity in what you're saying. So, and I've seen a lot of people that I've interviewed, and when I hear that, it's sad because the script that they've given to you, you should be able to coin something out of it for yourself that you alone can spew and make it easier and understandable for whoever's interviewing you. Remember, when they tell you, tell me about yourself in an interview, you have about 2 minutes to say everything in your resume to explain to them what you have done. So at the end of the day, do not sound scripted. Practice in the questions that you know may be hard for you when explaining yourself. Try and start with that. And one thing I want to urge everyone is we are a diaspora based folks. We're coming from different continent whereby we have accents, right? So don't try to speak like someone you're not. So make sure you communicate clearly and effectively so your enunciations, when they come off, you can be understood by the hiring manager. A lot of people try to speak like someone they're not. Then this is what your recruiter say. Can you repeat it again? Can you repeat it again? So you want to make sure that you enunciate very well. They can hear you clearly and be confident. Be confident in who you are and what you speak. So Tony, please over to you.
Like Jojo said, once you're at these interviews, uh, you have to make your presence felt. And that interview Jojo was talking about, Jojo and I went for an interview. He went in all bubbly, and I went in looking as if I was just there to interview. So there are some things I learned from that interview because at the end of the day, when I spoke to the HR, I asked the HR, I was like, after the interview, I didn't get any questions. So I was wondering if I did my presentation well, I didn't do it well, I was found like wanting. The HR told me that she saw my presentation because she's the one who received the slides and they were perfect. So she knows that they will not have any question for me because I covered everything. But I didn't seem enthused about the job. And even when she had told me that I didn't get the job, she said from my reaction, she couldn't even tell if I was happy, I was sad, or anything. He said that's what the people were looking for, someone that they know that even if they have you on maybe within the portfolio, they can vibe with you, stuff like that. Some of these people they like to talk about their cats or their dogs, stuff like that. At that point, I was just looking for a job. I don't care if your cat or your dog, like that kind of thing. And I'll say sometimes it's the African in us. Some of us are really not that kind. But with time in the corporate world, um, you just have to make it work. You're here for your money. So if they want you to somersault, or just somersault for them and make your money. Now I find myself in interviews talking about MetaQuest and how even when you're on the TV, like stuff that I won't even talk about to the point that somebody even gave me their account to go and play a game. But these are some of the things that I did to get some jobs. And some of these interviews you go, it doesn't work, you learn from your mistakes. You keep adjusting and keep moving forward. And also when it comes to some of these interviews, try to try to read the person that you're talking to. Try to find something that might maybe spark some sort of interest. Because there are times that you even go in for an interview and it ends up becoming a conversation. And with that being that actually even breaks the ice and makes you even feel more comfortable. There are some people that when you go to an interview, they even start from the weather. They start from what's happening or what happened over the weekend. Maybe a sports game, maybe something, anything just to it breaks the ice. And once they begin smiling or laughing about something or you know um, talking to you a little bit, you even feel more comfortable. That's why sometimes it's kind of a good idea to join meetings earlier. If you have a meeting at 6, let's say this meeting started at 6, and you join at maybe 5:50. If somebody else joins the meeting before 6, the first 10 minutes you are just on the call. You can probably even start one or two conversations before the rest of the people come. Before you start the meeting, or the interview, you personally like inwardly, you'll be even more comfortable with some of the people on the call, and it helps you at the end of the day, you know. And also practicing some of your your statements, or maybe about yourself, all those extra things in front of a mirror. It's not even a bad idea just to see how you look. Some of these things are very important. And sometimes, if you don't know, don't be afraid to ask them to rephrase it. Sometimes you might even know it, but the way they put it, companies have different ways they say things. So sometimes you might know it, but the way they put it, you don't get it. Don't be afraid to tell them that. Can you rephrase it? That's one thing I learned from Jojo. I don't lie. That's one thing I learned from Jojo. And there are other times too that you can even go into an interview, and when they ask you to tell them about yourself, you tell them to tell you a little more about the position that you've applied for and some of the expectations for the person who is going to be in that role, so that you'll be able to better sell yourself. As you describe yourself, you'll be able to touch on the things that are meaningful to them. Nobody will say anything. They'll be very willing to tell you about the role. And with that, as they are speaking, you can either make quick notes about important things that they said. Then, when you start describing yourself, if they say they want somebody who knows Excel, if they say they want somebody who knows PowerPoint, maybe when you're going to talk about yourself, you ain't going to say PowerPoint or Excel because you think maybe that's basic. But then, since they said that, oh, the person will be someone who will be talking to people, doing slides and presenting them, then you've got two things in there. So now when you start talking about yourself, you can put in there that, oh, and on a weekly basis, I present to my PM in the form of slides. Maybe it's not even true, but so long as you've said it, it's checked two boxes on their side. But don't be afraid to sometimes ask some of these things. Okay. It will help you in the long run. Thank you, Joe.
All right. Thank you, very Tony. And like Tony was saying, try to be an analytical thinker, right? Basically, what he's saying, be an analytical thinker, someone that can think on top of your head. And Tony said initially, have an icebreaker when you come on to the meeting. Don't show up for interviews late. Show up at least 5 minutes or 10 minutes ahead of time. So whoever joins before you, you can strike a kind of some core relationship with them before the interview actually begins. There's one interview I had, the person was in Pennsylvania. It was raining a lot, and I asked him how he's doing, and he said the weather is terrible. And I was like, it's terrible to my location. It's been raining all day. So we were able to have an icebreaker from there, and he just talked, oh, how far is it from my place to Pennsylvania? I was able to have a conversation with him. So then he knew that, oh, this person is like, he has people skills. A lot of us don't have people skills. And when we get into interviews, we are very, very rigid, very rigid. My name is, I have that. This is not my first copybook. This is real life that you're going to be explaining to people. This is a real job you're going to explain to people. This is 100 or six figures job they want to give to you. So you have to have six-figure answers, six-figure responses, right? Be that subject matter expert. Sell yourself to the hiring manager. So when you leave that interview, you leave a lasting impression on them. You might not be the best candidate for it, but they might end up finding a different role that you might be able to do. So these are the kind of things that we want to urge the audience over here today is be confident in who you are, prepare, know what you're talking about, and practice. And again, like I said, communicate effectively. Communicate effectively. There's one time I went for a job interview. One of the interviewees over there liked snakes. I hate snakes. But one thing I like doing is watching National Geographic special. So I started talking about those kind of animals, reptiles, and she was like, "Oh, I know about them." I was like, "Yeah." So then it struck a chord with her. So she didn't even end up asking me questions. All she ended up asking me was about what I like to watch on National Geographic special, and that was about it. And after a couple of minutes, I got a call from the HR person. Oh, they like the way I talk in regards to me just being a free flow person and not being too rigid. Sometimes our rigidity is what doesn't get at a job. So if they throw something out of your comfort zone, you find yourself wanting. Now let's move on to the last slide. Then we'll open the line for questions. So, like we're saying, one thing you want to do is be able to negotiate your salary, your benefits package, right? A lot of people want to see the job and they say $50 an hour because they haven't seen six figures before. It just goes, yes, I'll take it. Do well to negotiate your salary on the onset when you're hiring or the recruiter. And again, on your onboarding, make sure to actively ask questions on whoever is helping you onboard, right? Do so and make sure that you onboard the right way so you're not caught behind with certain things that you're supposed to get abreast with. Now, productivity. Myself and Johnny will say, when you get into the job market, give yourself the first 90 days to learn a lot. Reach out to people, know the working environment, people that will give you a helping hand immediately. Those that you know that if you call on them, they can reach out to you. So use those first 90 days. Just because you've landed a job doesn't mean that it ends there. You have to now maintain the job. Tony can tell you he's known people that have received jobs the next 2 months, they were laid off for performance. Or sometimes, and I'll be honest with you, they realize that the person that interviewed for them is not the person that is working when they job on a meeting. And I'll be brutally honest with you, we see that a lot in our African community, whereby people do interviews for others. If you're part of that gang, be careful because the time will come. One HR person, that's not the person we interviewed, and you know what they end up doing? They end up taking screenshots in interview sessions, and now when you have regular meetings at work, they'll pull it up and it's like, well, that's not a person we interviewed. Now that's your job about to be lost over there. And if this goes on your job record, you might not end up finding a job. So these are the kind of things that we want you to make sure you do. That's why we say be prepared, know your environment, negotiate the salary and benefit package. When you're on board and reach out to the right people and ask the right questions so you can have a smooth transition into the job. Now, when you get the job, be a productive person, be consistent, reach out to people that will help you progress in a job or environment. And like we said, be an effective communicator. Communication is key. When you're working in a remote environment, because you don't want to be micromanaged, don't wait for your boss to reach out to you before you do something. Just send them a message, hey, I did this. I want you to just take a look at it. Just to let him know you're busy doing something, but you might technically not be doing nothing. Be the one to always reach out to your supervisor first. Don't let your supervisor reach out to you. Reach out to him. Do you have anything for me today? I'm working on these projects. I'm just trying to provide to you details of what I've done currently and what my next week is going to look like. So your manager or your director or whoever your first line supervisor is knows that, oh, these are the tasks that have been assigned to Daniel. These are the tasks that have been assigned to PK. So at the end of the day, if I want to add additional tasks to his job, I can reach out to, do you have space for this? But then if you're never reaching out to your manager or when you have your one-on-ones with your manager and you're not seeing anything, they want to know, what exactly are you doing at work? That is why our president today wants everybody to come to the office, because there's some people on Fridays when you call them, you never get them at work. Their teams are green, but their Zoom are green, their WebEx are green, but when you call them at work, you never get them on Fridays. You understand? Or there's some companies, because of this situation, Fridays is like, hey, no meetings on Fridays. But Friday is still a working day. Do you understand? So these are the kind of things that you want to prepare yourself when you go in the job market. And when you land that remote job, you can keep that remote job.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Can you put the next slide, which is about the contact information, and also can you guys put the contact information in the chat room for people to copy as well?
Absolutely. Let us do this. This is our contact information. If anybody wants to reach out to any of us, my contact information is over there. So is Tony's contact information. You can reach out to us via text, phone call. If you want to WhatsApp us, you can WhatsApp us too. If you want to email us, you can email me at KOJO at ACQUAYEconsultancy.com, or you can email at ACQUAYEconsult@gmail.com. Tony will reply to you anytime. So please do so at your own convenience. Whenever we drop this chat, we'll put our names, and information also in the chat column.
Okay.
With that being said, PK, over to you, or I'll let Tony chime in for the last session before
Well,
we give it back to you.
we'll let him come in during the questions aspect so that we can get
Yes.
it because of time factor.
Okay, let's do that. So I'll stop sharing my screen, PK, and over to
Yes,
you.
sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, guys, thank you guys very much. We're also going to drop in the slide on the chat room, His Royal Empire chat room, so that you guys can have access to the slide as well. So let's go ahead and go to the questions so that we can quickly. So Marian says it's disheartening to see our own people hindering the progress of a Ghanaian business due to excessive bureaucracy. I think Marian is talking about when director was talking about the startups and wallet. So Annie says, thanks for talking in English. Well appreciated. Annie, thank you very much. Jojo says, is this remote job good for retiree like me and want a side job? Okay, that's a good question. Reverend, you were answered, so I'll proceed to the next one. I like this one. Seke says, Ejuma will be to me, I free fee. That means remote. Reverend knew what remote is, Pablo. Phil says, remote. Oh, okay, you guys are still explaining what remote means. You guys know Reverend was joking, right? Bismarck said, does one need a certificate to earn a remote job? How do you get started without any qualification in the IT field? Thank you. I don't know if you covered that already, but Jojo or Tony, you guys can take that.
Okay.
Sorry, please go over that again. I thought it was answered.
I think, Tony, you even answered that in the questions. I just saw that in the
I
comment
think so.
section. Depends on the type of IT job you are looking for. Not
Yeah.
all of them require certificates. Others also have specific certificates. Okay, thank you. Thank you. And Jojo says, by the way, I was a tech help desk specialist before retiring. And Tony says, by the way, I was a tech help desk before retiring. Thanks. I believe there are some that are completely remote that require you to remote into a system to troubleshoot issues whatsoever. All right, Lydia Boafo says, the majority of remote jobs are in the tech, software, cybersecurity field, and usually involves coding. What other career fields can I explore that doesn't require coding certificates or qualifications?
Okay, so I think I can answer this in two folds. Lydia, the jobs that are remotely, and you've stated it's not true. It doesn't require you to have a coding background, a tech background. Before I became a cybersecurity analyst, I had an
But
economics
she said majority.
majority. I know a majority of the jobs too in the tech field too are not coding. The
Oh, okay.
job that I find myself in has nothing to do with coding. I find myself in the security and compliance space, the governance, risk, and compliance space. Before I got my first job, I didn't have a cybersecurity certificate because I had a project management experience, and that's what I was able to leverage. So remember, you might have some transferable skills that you can leverage, Lydia. And if you want to come into the IT space that doesn't require you to have that coding experience or background, a good place to start is the risk management, governance, risk, and compliance, or something like an IT auditor, right? You can start from there and build your career from there, and it will aid you a lot. Now, there's some non-IT roles that you can get yourself into, like project management. You don't necessarily need to be an IT specialist to become a project manager. You just need to know a few little things to aid you to become successful in that environment. So these are one thing I want to just let you know. So do not think that just because you don't have an IT certification or an IT background doesn't mean you can get into it. You have some good transferable skills. Just look at what you do today and how best you can pivot. So that's pretty much it for me.
All right, cool. SB says, please, can this session be recorded and posted on the platform for others to also listen? SB, you are very right. So this is currently being streamed live on YouTube and Facebook. I will drop the YouTube link on the His Royal Empire chat so that you can have access and also send it to people. But then if in case anybody else want to go straight to Facebook or YouTube, it's on Startups in Ghana, HITV, Facebook, and YouTube as well. Evelyn Osei Akoto says, please, what is the meaning of remote jobs? I think it's already been explained. Bernard Agre explained that as well. Stephen Kofi Osei Akoto say, PK, please, can you send me your email so I can contact to speak on tech jobs and requirements to get in if it's one of the main questions you receive? So if you want to get in, the person that you want to contact is Jojo and Tony. If you want to get, hold on, you say to speak on tech jobs and requirements. Oh, and requirements. So I think he wants to come and talk about. Okay, all right. When please click on the link to the chat room and just say something, and I'll just come and respond to you privately. Okay, that way you can have my number. But if you also look on the running script at the bottom of the screen, you'll see my number also over there as well. Okay. Stephen comes back to say your presenters are on spot. Yes, Stephen would like to have a lot of resource personnel coming on board. Lydia says, Tony and Kojo, I would really appreciate it if you can provide your contacts. My daughter is having a hard time with getting a job after college because of her resume and lack of experience. Yes, they already did that. And the email address is kojo@ACQUAYE all right. Your presenters are, okay, Stephen already said that. Stephen comes back to say, if you need advice on tech, you may contact me at steven.oseiakoto@gmail.com. Please do so. And he keeps saying that you guys are doing a great job. Thank you, Stephen. Kojo says, grateful if you could also talk a bit about fraudsters who take advantage job seekers. Very good question. Yes, Jojo.
Yes.
You know you get those kind of messages, right? It says, hey,
Yes.
I got a remote job for you. But let's talk on WhatsApp. One day I asked this lady, I was like, why is it that you got my number to talk to me regular, but you want to talk to me about a job on WhatsApp? And this is what I say to people. Do not click on any links that people send to your WhatsApp. If they really want to talk to you and they want to stick in talking to you on a regular number, I don't see why they have to move to the remote aspect of, the WhatsApp aspect of it. It doesn't make sense to me. That is how people get easy control over your phones, especially those of you who are not using iPhones. I'm not promoting iPhone or whatsoever means, but if you're not using iPhone, it's easy for them to break through and crack through your phone. Jojo, please take this for me.
Yes. Now, anytime you see these people asking that they have a job for you, just listen to their grammar in the text whenever they send to you. You realize that there are huge flaws in your grammar. So these are easily detectable things. And once they tell you come to WhatsApp or even Skype, know that it's a red flag. As of today, nobody's even using Skype. And you realize that once you look at the email they're sending to you, sometimes it'll register as maybe a John Smith. They've ended up getting themselves a Google number, and whenever you call the number, it goes straight to voicemail and nobody gets to you. So please be careful not to do that. And they start asking for your full name, or they want to send you a laptop, but they'll send you a check that you want to go and cash out. Once you do that, you end up getting yourself in a jam. These are few tips that we want to urge people. Deloitte will not tell you to do an interview on WhatsApp. KPMG will not tell you to have an interview on Skype. They have a portal and they send you an email. They tell you to reach out to your recruiter. So anytime they reach out to you, tell them that they can reach out to you via your email at this email to send you all the details needed, and you reply to them accordingly. 90% of the time when they tell me this, I just tell them, like, your frauding is not good enough. Try to someone else, and it ends there. They don't reach out back to you again. Or anytime you reach out to them and tell them that no, you don't want to do it on WhatsApp, they end up sounding very aggressive, right? Because they want to push you to send a link to them or send a link to you to answer. So please be very careful, and no company will send you an email using Gmail. And even today, there are some companies that have created them legit company websites. They'll reach out to you, especially and I don't want to pick on any particular race, but then most of the Indian folks end up doing that a lot. Even via email, they tell you that, send the last four of your social, your date of birth, and all that. No company, until you are hired, will not ask for your last four. Until you get you a job offer, nobody's asking for your last four or your date of birth or your residency or where you're coming from. Until you get the job is when they'll ask for these details, because these kind of informations that you give, your last four, your date of birth, your month and day, it's easy means and ways for them to find out where you live and where to stay, and they can get your credit card information. You understand? So do your best not to answer to any of these kind of things.
All right.
Thank you very much.
The next question. Sir, I'm in USA. Sometimes we are scared to put our information online. How do we secure this to get remote jobs? I'm very convinced. I'm very convinced. But I need a remote job. I'm a CAD drafter and here for about 8 months. Don't like those guys who designs for like basically like a tech architecture who designs for builders and people who build
Okay.
infrastructures and stuff like that.
Okay. So, Richard, that's great. Now,
I think I answered that, Joe.
yes, go ahead, Tony. Please push answer that question.
No, I think I answered that.
Oh, okay.
me-
Tony said he answered it, so then I'll get to that. I appreciate it. Then, because of the time, any way be as short possible, we'll take it. Rebecca said, "Do you help with all resumes or only those that deal with IT?" That was from Rebecca, and Tony came to respond that mostly. And again, I'm reading those comments because of those who are watching and not listening. Those who are listening and not watching. Sorry, mostly IT, but you can leverage various AI platforms to create a resume. Also, job descriptions can be used to create a resume. All right. And Tony comes back to respond that do not be scared to have a resume out there. When you create a resume, just use your city, state, zip code, optional. Phone number, you can get a new number just for job search to prevent putting your personal number online. Google Voice is free. It provides a free phone number that runs on the internet. So that was for Richard. Abna Akon says, Tony, you just advise against tailoring your resume to specific jobs. What does one do then? And Richard comes to respond to Tony. So, Tony, can you please help me after the meeting? Okay. Let me take a number off. Antoinette, he says, breaking down the action items in your resume and trying that to an impact or business goal. Solineb says, work me throughout your resume. I'm not sure what that means.
I'm probably sure she's trying to say, walk me through your, your resume. Yes.
Daniel Ayavo says, this is more about general job search than specific remote job. Jojo comes to say, also maintain eye contact if it's more than one person. Try to locate the alpha guy and respond to him or her. Smile and all, dress well. That's all tips for the interview. Then I hear what comes back to say, this is more, okay, then we already read that. Jojo says, I landed a job many years ago in the late 1990s because I said my hobby is DIY, do it yourself, woodworking and leatherworks. One of the panelists was also into leatherworks. We started talking, so basically like, having that catchy phrase and basically talking up through conversation. And this has happened to me personally before too. We end up talking about military all day long and how the Air Force and the Army, feud. And at the end of the day, I end up making through with it. Aka says, what's your advice on international students on F1 visa applying for remote jobs since they don't have work permits? Okay, this is to you guys, Jojo.
Yes, so F1 students, I know you have that OPT situation. So look for jobs that open up application for F1 students, especially when you're within that OPT or time frame. So there are big companies like Bloomberg, Meta, Amazon, Google, they all aid in you finding those kind of F1 type job applications. So look for those specific jobs. And one way to do this, Google them, and you find a lot of them online. So leverage that a lot. If you realize that your time is coming up, do a research ahead of time. You want to do a research ahead of time to find the specific jobs that will sponsor for F1 students and make sure the job you're looking for aligns with your skill set. So do that job research very, very, very well.
Also, I'll chip in really quickly. OPM, Office of Personnel Management, also has internships, but it's like once a year. They also have internship opportunities for people to be able to intern with federal organizations. So if you can go on their websites and be checking, I don't know when specifically it comes, but it's towards the end of the year. They start those kind of sessions. It's more of like mass hire type of situation. So they have these sessions somewhere in DC, and then you can go and try to apply to some of these things for internships, and maybe it'll put you in a good spot before you are done with whatever course that you are currently in.
All right, Tony, whilst I got you on the line, any jobs that people can do from Ghana? This is coming from Kaku.
From Ghana.
Yeah.
Kaku, in today's government and the person we have currently, uh, the numbers are very low. Kaku, I'll be very honest with you. A couple of years ago, if you had your company and you can get your remote workers from a different continent, it's possible because a lot of the customer service folks, you end up noticing that they have Indian voices because they've been hired from India. But currently, they're cutting down because they want the jobs to remain in America. Now, you can find a job that's sponsored, like an international company that will sponsor people to work from different countries. So look for jobs that will sponsor folks to work overseas. And you want to make sure your skill sets aligns, so you want to stand out. So, Tony, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, so in Ghana, we have companies like KPMG, they're international, Deloitte is international, GE is also there, and there are a few others that are international companies that you can maybe if you're able to find yourself in one of those jobs, you can be maybe even sponsored to come and work here. I would have said USAID, but right now USA is a bit shaky, so I can't say much for that. But typically, when people are able to obtain contracts from this side, and then they are able to have third parties from other countries um, execute their tasks, that's when we are able to get people from other countries internationally to be able to do this. So some of these customer service personnel that are in India, so it's probably someone who has gone for the contract with the company, maybe Best Buy, maybe Coca-Cola, whatsoever, and then it's been contracted with someone who is now using a third party or has employed people in India to, do some of these services for these companies. So, I mean, I don't know if I think it's maybe better chances of looking towards Europe. Maybe you might be able to find things there, but for America right now, it's a little bit tough.
Okay. So we're gonna do this last question, then we're gonna go to Mamiama on Zoom. She has a hand up to talk. So this question is from Araba Adakwe. She says, "Do you mentor budding data scientists? If not, how can one find one?"
Yes, Arab, great question. I have a lot of folks in the data scientists, data science and analytics field. If you do want to reach out, you can definitely reach out via the email that has been given out. I'll connect you to a buddy of mine. He's a professor, and that's what he specializes in. He mentors a lot of folks in the data science field. So you can definitely reach out via the email or phone number.
All right. Rex says good presentation. Solenep says excellent. And Lydia Waffle says, I see some content creators doing commercial for startups, and are there any opportunities for me to also get involved? Lydia, stick behind after this session, and when it gets to the Q&A session with startups, and you can ask that beautiful question. Um, then Araba says the fraudsters do not use the company email address; they use Gmail. That is also another clue. At this point, we're gonna unmute Mamiama. Then after Mamiama, we're gonna hear about two. Mamiama, please tell us where you're calling from and also what your question is.
Hello?
Yes, Mamiama.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And I just want to first of all applaud Tap Tap and your team PK and everybody You've been awesome. I mean, this is like a family trying to get everybody informed from the immigration to this to that, back to back. So just a big thumbs up to you.
Thank you.
And I just realized that, yeah, welcome. I just realized that like there are people genuinely looking for remote work when they saw the information in the emails, inviting them to join. People want to just hear things about remote work. And I know Jojo, the team today put up some websites for the remote work. I believe that when you share it, they can work on it. And I also want to say that for those who are asking questions about working from Ghana and remote work for people from Ghana or people who are doing who are on F1 and things like that, you may not really like it, but you can try it. As much as you have 2 or more languages that you can speak, like in Ghana, for instance, if you are coming from Accra, you can speak Ghana, you know your English, and maybe you also know Chi. You can just look for interpretation jobs. The hospital needs it, the companies need it, Amazon needs interpreters for their work. You know, people need it. So you can look for interpretation jobs, and some of these ones, they don't really look at where you're coming from. Actually, even when sometimes you are even in your home country, they can still allow you to do it. So for the person on F1, for instance, you can find remote jobs for the language you speak. If you speak Ewe or something, I don't know if it's prudent to say, but I know about 2 or so companies currently looking for Ga and Ewe interpreters and Ghanaian language interpreters. Maybe for the recordings, they may not be able to say it loud or something, but just go online and start looking for the language you can speak and interpret to. And I mean, some of these ones, you don't need to get social security in the US or be a resident here, or your F1 status does not matter. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Oba, Mami
Oh,
Ama, you didn't
before
tell us
Oba
where you're
starts,
calling
I
from.
want to put out there that Google is actually hiring for tree translators.
You said Google is what?
Google is hiring for tree translators too.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you. Before we go to Abna, I think there's some couple questions that popped up again. Before we go to Abna, well, Oba is not here right now. So, Millicent Yale says it's a good practice to make a follow up call after attending your interview, which is very good. That's true. And EO Frimpon says opportunities for F1 students who want to do their OPT. I think that was well explained earlier. Araba says wonderful. Thank you. Lydia says someone has mentioned Google Voice for a phone number disguise. Can I do the same for my address? Soleneb says it is hard for me to get a job in finance. What is your advice to help me get 6 figures? So Leneb, I think so if you contact them directly, they'll be able to just walk you through 1 or 2 things. Saliu Mama says, can you please get the panelists to enlighten us why companies go to India to hear and what go to India to hear and what do we need as Ghanaians to set up such a model in Ghana? That's a very good question.
Okay, I have a great answer for that. So, whoever answered that question, it's India has the infrastructure to meet those job requirements. They have the technological know-how. Majority of these softwares are created over there, and they're able to manage it very, very well as compared to the African continent. We don't have the infrastructure. Think about where we don't have regular lights. Our internet is very, very slow. So some of these jobs require you to have good and solid internet. And think about it, if your company is going to use Starlink, created by Elon Musk, that's over $1,000 to even get you the actual satellite to install in your or in your organization. How many people in Ghana can afford that? You understand? Now, India has a robust system and they have the numbers. They have the numbers, so that's why you end up finding these jobs going to India a lot. And it's cheap. It's cheap labor. It's very cheap labor, And the bureaucracies in India, they have more of a better structure as compared to Ghana. In Africa, we haven't created that structure very well in Africa to have that seamless transition as compared to India. And if you realize, a lot of India companies do have affiliates in America, and a lot of companies are owned by Indians in America, so they end up sending the jobs over there